Pretty interesting place, don't you think? Just a pot laying around.
This looks like a trick or something, Janine. What do you think? Is this like a prop or what the heck? Does it come off?
Oh. Well,
how do you get it back?
now we have flowers.
Oh my gosh. Well, they're beautiful.
They are beautiful.
Did you know that that was a trick?
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Ta-da.
Ta-da!
I see what's going on here.
I think we're here to learn about some magic. Maybe?
Oh, okay.
No?
Welcome, everybody.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us here today.
Thank you for being here.
We're here with the girls, and
I love the girls.
You love the show?
Love the girls.
Well, thank you. We're so glad that you could be part of the show. You're one of the girls
I'm
now.
one of the girls today.
You're
We're
one of
up
the
here in
girls.
Scranton, Pennsylvania at the Houdini Museum, and this is none other than Dorothy Dietrich. And Dorothy, if they don't know who you are by now, let me refresh your memories. If you haven't ever heard of Dorothy or ever been here, Dorothy is the very first woman to ever catch a bullet in her teeth.
Fire!
That's
How
me.
the heck did you do that?
How about that?
Talk about being fast.
Don't ever do that, anybody. Don't ever think about it.
No, that
Do
would
not
be so.
try any of these tricks at home, right?
No.
And here at the Houdini Museum, you have such a great history and everything about magic. You yourself a magician and an escape artist. And I understand that Houdini himself turned that trick down, that catching the bullet.
Yeah, the main reason why I wanted to do it was because, well, first of all, I'm a female, and I was, at the time, I was having a lot of trouble getting respect from my peers. And in any industry, that's what everybody wants, you know. And so I thought, you know, when I was invited to perform at the International Brotherhood of Magicians International Convention.
Brotherhood.
That was a great honor to be invited to perform there. And I thought, you know what, I better not just do girl magic. I better do something that will really impress the guys.
Well, how did you get
And,
started in the first place?
I started as a kid. As soon as I could read, I was reading books about magic. And it just intrigued me so much. I wanted to be a magician. And at first, when I started out, I thought that you could just do magic. And so I
Like
just...
Janine thought over here.
Well, I did
nicely
magic.
done.
Didn't you see
Nicely
that?
done.
I made fresh bouquet of flowers for everyone watching at home.
I love it.
So you knew right away that you wanted to be a magician. Did you come from a magic family?
No, actually, nobody in my family were actually magicians. My brother George used to do card tricks.
Okay.
And he'd never show me how to do it. I'd always say, hey, come on, teach me how to do that. And that might have been something that started in my head, because as soon as you tell me I can't do something, or you won't let me do something, then I got to try harder to do it.
Typical kid.
And actually, my whole time growing up as a kid, everybody said, you know what, girls shouldn't do magic. It's a boy thing. You should probably learn, you know, like learn to be a nurse. You should go be a nurse, and you'll marry a doctor, and you'll have a beautiful family with kids. And that is a lovely thing. But it's not what I wanted. That was really just not what I was looking to do.
Well, what was your first trick then that you performed?
My first trick was really funny. I took a hat, I don't know whose hat it was, but I had an object. I put the object on the table and I put the hat over it, and then I picked up the hat and the object was gone.
How about it?
It was gone.
And did you perform that in front of just your family?
The
or
family,
what?
yeah.
Just in the
and
family.
they let me get away with it, so that was the start. That was the start.
And for all the magic tricks that you do, what is your favorite one?
I think the coin trick, because it's so personal with the child when I do a coin trick and I start pulling coins from everywhere. And when it's the right kid, it's so magical, and they just leave with such a feeling that they are so powerful, you know. And the really cool part of that is that I run into people that say, you know, you did that to me when I was like 5 years old.
They remember.
And they never forget it, you know.
Well, I've been
And,
here to your museum before, but you also have a magic show that you perform here yourself.
There's
right?
a show, yes, that is really fun. We have it designed so that it's appropriate for all ages. I don't care who you are, like from 3 years all the way up to 103. And we actually did have a lady that was 99 a few weeks ago. She was 99 years old. And in October, we do the Houdini Seance. And that time, we had John Calvert who at that time was 100 years old.
Wow. So the show sounds very exciting.
And we do have a cause here that you have done something great for the Houdini gravesite.
We did a really cool thing. My whole life growing up, the Houdini gravesite was just absolutely a magnificent site. However, on the big structure, the memorial stone, was a bust that was broken in 1975. And my whole life, going to visit the grave, I thought, that is just a shame. There are thousands of magicians around the world. Why don't we put together a fund and do it? Well, I'd ask my elders, and that's kind of what you do. You ask your elders. So I did, and everybody would always say, no, if you fix it, it'll just break again. Somebody will break it, somebody will steal it. Nah, it's a bad idea. So finally, like a year and a half ago, we decided, you know what? We're not going to ask anymore. We're going to figure out how to do this. So I contacted a memorial company and said, how much would it be to have this produced? And they said $10,000. And I thought, okay, we could probably raise $10,000. That's a boatload of money.
Yeah,
but
you had
what
to
if,
pull a lot of quarters out of people's ears, I guess.
well, what if somebody breaks it? Now that's embarrassing. And I said, well, how much would it be if we had to do another one? They said, oh, $10,000. So I said, okay, this is not going to work. So we went to a sculpture and learned how to do sculpturing, learned how to do mold making, and how to actually cast the mold, make the mold and make the cast. And there are 4 of us that know exactly how to do it and know precisely what has to be done. So now we have, not only do we have the one at the gravesite, we have replaced that. It's absolutely magnificent. And now we have 2 backups that are ready to go in case anything should happen.
So that's how much you love Houdini, and you've admired and respected him. You've collected memorabilia all your life. And you have this entire place dedicated to Houdini. You're the expert on Houdini. So if you want to come up to the museum, you're located here in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Scranton,
in the northeastern
Pennsylvania.
What brought you to this area?
Well, we were in New York City for a lot of years, and the landlady decided to get greedy at one point. And she wanted the same building that we were paying $4,800 a month. She all of a sudden wanted $30,000 a month.
Oh, wow.
For the same
what
space.
A jump.
And
Talk
so
about it raising
we
rent.
said, Helen, if we had $30,000 a month, I think we could buy a building.
Right.
And so we don't. And so we ended up looking, we started drawing circles around the city and trying to find a place. And then we realized, hey, wait a minute, we're thinking wrong. We're looking to rent another place. And that way we'll always be at the mercy of a landlord. So we said we need to figure how to buy a place. So the circle got bigger because you can't afford anything in Manhattan. So then it got to New Jersey and then bigger and bigger, and finally Scranton hit the map. And we did some research and found out that Houdini did some special challenges here. He did the beer barrel challenge with Standard Brewery, where he got out of a barrel of true age beer, and the J.B. Woolsey employees put him in a packing crate made out of 2-inch wood, nailed him in with 7 pounds of nails. He got out in 6 minutes, which was less time than it took them to build it and put him in there. So this was a really good match. So we started looking for property, and we found this building. And it's an old building. It's over 100 years old, and it's a grand old gal, And when things go wrong, they go wrong in a big way. So we do have big repairs here and there to go through. And we're going through that now. We have a brand new parking lot. If you've ever been here before, we have a brand new parking lot and a whole new deck in the back. We should have a party back there.
We should.
Yeah.
Now with
We're
you
gonna have a
having
party
the
in there. Soon, right?
With you having the old building and with Houdini being gone, do you think maybe his spirits are here? You have to stay with us because we're going to go on the tour of the Houdini Museum. You never know what we're going to find. We'll be right back.
This room takes you through Houdini's life in a circle from beginning to end, and I'll walk you through and point out some of the high points. His real name was not Houdini. His real name was Eric Weiss, as you see here on the receipt, when he's delivering telegrams at the age of 13, working in a sweatshop. That's what kids did in those days. They didn't go to school. They had jobs. We didn't have child protection laws. And in fact, a lot of the child protection laws were developed right here in Scranton, Pennsylvania, with the United Coal Miners when they had some big strikes, and also gave you the weekend, the 40-hour week. So Houdini is working in a sweatshop in New York, and he learns magic. He gets interested in magic. He reads a book about Robert Houdin, who was the most famous magician in those days. And Eric Weiss takes the name Houdin, adds an I, and invents the name Houdini in honor of Houdin, little realizing he will become more famous than Houdin. That's Houdin there. He brought magic into the modern world. He even changed the way magicians dressed. Before Houdin, magicians wore robes to the floor with stars and moons and big funny cone hats. He was the first one to wear top hat, bow tie, and tuxedo. And even today, when you think of a magician, that's what you think of. Houdini's first job in New York City, starting out, Coney Island. That's where he met his wife. They got married and they stayed together their entire lives. But his first job out of town, traveling, becoming a professional magician, incredibly, right here in Northeast Pennsylvania with the Welsh Brothers Circus. That circus traveled all through this area. And Houdini didn't work there for a short time, a long time. He worked there for a year in 1895, and then again for a year in 1898. So that's one of the reasons we're here in this area. He has about 7 miserable years in small-time show business, working the worst kind of work: carnivals, fairs, flea markets, small-time saloons, small-time circuses. And then he's discovered by this man here in this telegram, Martin Beck. In fact, if you've ever been to New York City, there's a big Broadway theater that he built and shyly named after himself, the Martin Beck Theater. He also built the legendary Palace Theater in Manhattan, which was one of the most famous theaters in show business. He begins putting Houdini in some of the biggest theaters in the country, not as a star, as a small act. But Houdini creates a sensation. Why? He invented the escape act. It had never been done before. He goes from town to town challenging the police. He gets out of jails. He gets bigger newspaper stories than all of Martin Beck's other big acts. He gets raise after raise, and almost instantly Houdini is a headliner. Then, on the advice of this man here, T. Nelson Downs, he helped Houdini when Houdini was unknown. And one of Houdini's great character traits was loyalty. If you helped Houdini, he never forgot. T. Nelson Downs tells Houdini, go to Europe. There's more show business there. You get more respect than in the United States. You learn a few words in each language, and you can work every single country. So Houdini goes to Europe. Same thing happens in Europe. So much work comes in for Houdini in Europe that Houdini doesn't leave Europe for 7 years, playing all the big-time theaters at the highest prices ever commanded. Most people don't know it. He was also a pioneer aviator. He was the first man to fly a plane in Australia. He's number 17 in all of the record books of the pioneer aviators. Houdini would travel from town to town, and he would do these outdoor stunts. And the amazing thing is, he would do these outdoor stunts for free. You wouldn't have to pay. And as many as 60,000 people would come to see him do these stunts. He would usually do it on opening day of a big theater. So he'd get a big story in the newspaper, and people would come to buy his tickets. Now he's a big star everywhere he goes. His name is 100 times bigger than anybody else's on the show. You can see how big Houdini's name is. Look at the comedian on the show, Jack Benny, wit, music, and patter. That's the same famous Jack Benny that would later become a famous movie, television, and radio star. Houdini made 5 motion pictures. They appeared all over the world. People are always interested in local history. Here's Houdini's movies headlining in our theaters here in Scranton at the Strand, the Regent, and the Poli. It gave kids and families a chance in countries Houdini didn't even travel to learn about the great Houdini. Houdini now establishes himself as a major motion picture star. He has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for his film career. All of his films were silent, and many of them were lost to antiquity until just a couple of years ago, a group went around the country piecing together the different parts of his movies. They're all silent, and they call the series Houdini the Movie Star, appropriately. They also, Eastman Kodak took many of the old newsreels, Pathé newsreels that Houdini was in, they restored them, and they are also included in there, and a lot of other great information about Houdini. He had the first robot in history in any movie of all time. There it is right there. He also had the first mid-air plane crash. The only time a plane crash, or the first time I should say, the first time that a mid-air plane crash was ever filmed. It was a true accident. The two planes were supposed to pass each other, their wings touched, and they come crashing to the ground. Luckily they separated and nobody was hurt. When they put out the movie, they said Houdini was in the plane at the time, but he wasn't. They would have never risked his life, as even today, when there's dangerous stunts, they have other people doing it. This was his last show, his greatest show, his most sensational show. So when we were looking for one souvenir for here, we took Houdini's biggest souvenir program, his most historic one, and we made it our souvenir program.
Well, we're really lucky today because we happen to have a lady magician in the audience. Haha. She didn't say she was a magician, but I spotted that twinkle in your eye. Do you mind coming up and helping us out with your magic?
Oh, sure.
Oh, goddess of magic, oh, woman of wonder. Let's give her a great big hand. Hi.
Thank you, thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
And what's your name?
Janine.
Of course it is. Everybody say hi, Janine. Hi. Couldn't you see that in lights? Janine, the great Janine. Yeah, I think so. Are you ready, Janine? We're gonna do the old musical routine. One for you, one for me, and to the music. Ready? Now it's gonna get tricky. Watch it. A flick and a click. It's like out, in, and dip, and dip, and dip, and kick. Whoops. She's got it. Come on, let's hear it. Not bad. Did you know she could do that? Did you learn this crazy thing? Yeah, the whole world was doing that for a while, weren't we? Did you guys learn the macaroni dance? Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was a dumb dance, wasn't it? Okay, wavy wave. Yeah, it was almost as dumb as the chicken dance, right? Here we go, ready? Ta-da! A miracle of magic. And Isabella, what? Nothing? What do you mean nothing? That's at least... All right. We'll make it twice as hard. All right. Twice as hard. Here we go. Ready? Wavy wave. Here we go. Ta-da! What, Robert? What? I bet you thought her magic was better, huh? Is that what you were thinking? All right, bring up that middle part. We're gonna cook it. Cook it? We're gonna make a campfire right here. That'll get them. Oh boy, let's make it nice and tall. Perfect. Now stand where the wind isn't so windy, and we're gonna light her up. Fabulous. Did you see that crazy lighter? Look at this thing. I don't know why it does that, but it came like that. Who needs a lighter to do that? I don't know. Oh, you know what though? Look at this. It also does this. Hey Janine, looky. Huh? Do I look spooky?
You do.
Huh? Does that look scary? Huh? Wait a minute. Perfect.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love
now
it.
I'm talking. Yeah. I'm hungry.
Now I feel at home.
All right, make some wiffle dust. Say this. Now shove that into your fist. Don't let them see that burn part. And grab the little corner. And we're ready for the magic handkerchief of Janine. The amazing Janine magic handkerchief. Okay. All right, wait a minute. All right. I see what's going on here. I thought you were watching.
Well, sorry.
Put it in there. Okay, wave your hands. Wave. Take it out. Ta-da! the amazing handkerchief. Okay, all right. All right, help her out. You guys, on the count of 3, you guys say Houdini lives nice and loud because we have bumper stickers that say that. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Take it out. Ta-da! Nice, right? Well, you know what? I think we can do something even better. Look at this. Everybody can do this. Get a piece of paper, like a napkin, and fold it down a little bit like that. Are you watching? Because everybody loves this. You're Michael, right? Watch this, Michael. Chicks dig this. You like the girls? Yeah? Do they call them chicks anymore? Yeah. Babes. Babes. Now see, you turn it into a little spiral like so. Keep it nice and fluffy. See what you're getting? Huh?
A rose.
Look at this. And now if you bring that end and sticking out, you could do this for your loved one. Right
Aww.
there. All right. Are you watching? She's going to expect one later. Isn't that fabulous fun for like anybody can do it? Huh? Look at that. And that's the part where they all go,
Aw, cute.
there you go.
Aw, thanks.
Hey, you know what you need? I think we can do even better.
Okay.
Put it in there.
Okay.
Let's do some magic. Ready? Wave your
All
hands.
right.
Take it out.
Ooh, what's in there?
Aha! Nice. Now point your finger. Come on, let's hear it. Come on, Janine's amazing.
I can't hear you.
On the count of 3, my special magicians will do their abracadabra, alakazam, and go ahead. Say it nice and loud.
Abracadabra, alakazam.
And there's something special that will appear. Ta-da! For Dorothy. There you go.
Oh my gosh! Look at this!
Holy cow. We need a little work, I think, with that one, but.
Oh my gosh! Come here, you. Aw. Holy cow, you guys!